What if I told you that the Miami Marlins, well, they've done it again. They've struck pitching gold.
Swing and a miss. Mad Max. Give him 14.
But it's definitely not the first time. Welcome to Good Vibes Baseball. Please be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Helps me out a ton, and I do appreciate each and every one of you legends. Now let's get into the good vibes, shall we? The Miami Marlins might not be one of the best teams in baseball to start 2025, but they do have one of the game's best young starting pitchers. And we've seen this before. Did you know that as of May 1st, 2025, Meyer has not only been absolutely nasty with his ridiculous 12.4 Ks per 9, but also has the most valuable non-fastball in all of baseball. His 90-plus mile-per-hour slider has been worth a whopping 7 runs so far this year. That's better than any pitch from Paul Skeens, Hunter Green, or Tarek Skubal. Just ask the Reds how nasty he is. And if he keeps this up, he could be looked at as a potential Cy Young candidate. But if you know Marlins history, this shouldn't come as any surprise. Did you know that despite being under 500 since their inception in 1993, the Miami Marlins have had 5 different starting pitchers who've posted a 6+ bWAR season? 2 even did it twice! And this wasn't just a 5-year window where the Marlins were blessed with some insane starting pitching either. It's been at least once a decade since the 1990s. Buckle up, baseball fans! It's time to take a look back at some of the nastiest pitchers in not just Marlins history, but MLB history, even if it was just for a season or 2. First up, the 90s. Kevin Brown was the best pitcher in baseball in 1996. Argue with a wall if you must, Braves fans, because even though John Smoltz won the 1996 NL Cy Young, and he was great, he was not the most deserving that year. He absolutely had a great case though, with his 24 wins and flashy strikeout numbers while playing for the eventual World Series runner-up, surrounded by all-star talent and sharing a rotation with future Hall of Famers. But the best pitcher in the National League that year? That would be Kevin Brown. In 1996, the Marlins were entering just their 4th season in the league and were looking to build a winner, but needed an ace. Enter Kevin Brown. After signing as a free agent that offseason, Brown stepped into that Marlins rotation and was the majority of that team's pitching production that year. He went 17-11 while leading the league with a 1.89 ERA, 9.44 WHIP, 0.3 home runs per 9, and an ERA plus of 2.15. He didn't strike a ton of hitters out, but not all aces are overpowering. By the numbers, Kevin Brown allowed the least amount of hits and walks per innings pitched in the entire league, while only giving up 8 total nukes in over 230 innings pitched. That is dominance. As I said before though, John Smoltz was also great in 1996. He won more games, struck out way more hitters while walking only slightly more, and went to the World Series that year. Smoltz's FIP was actually right in line with Brown's too. He absolutely was dominant as well. And from a bWAR perspective, Smoltz and Brown were worth essentially the same. But when it came to the Cy Young vote that year, Smoltz received 26 first place votes. Brown received 2.
That's bullshit.
If WAR was used in Cy Young debates in 1996 like it is today, I think that vote is a lot closer. Especially when you consider that Brown was almost all of that Marlins pitching production that year. He posted a 7.9 bWAR in 1996. The rest of that Marlins pitching staff, bullpen included, 4.6 bWAR that year. All while Smoltz pitched in front of Maddox and Glavine on the way to their 2nd World Series appearance in 2 years. But Smoltz won 24 games while striking a lot more people out on a winning team. You can't be too mad at the voters. But fortunately for Marlins fans, Kevin Brown wouldn't have to wait long for his revenge. In 1997, he wasn't as dominant, but was still fantastic. Winning 16 games with an ERA and FIP both under 3 and another 7 baseball reference wins above replacement, he threw a 1-hitter and a no-hitter that year too. But speaking of that revenge, he'd just go on to lead the Marlins to the 1997 World Series, where they just went on to upset Cleveland for the title. And the team they beat in the NLCS that year? The Atlanta Braves. Unfortunately this time though for Marlins fans, 1997, that would be it. He was one of many stars shipped out of town following that World Series win. But for 2 seasons with the Fish, he was dominant. He went 33-19 with a 2.30 ERA, 2.91 FIP, a whip just over 1, while posting a 14.9 bWAR in just 470 in a third innings pitched. And lucky for Marlins fans, they wouldn't have to wait long for their next ace. Baseball in the early 2000s was awesome. Steroids were running wild, catchers were allowed to block the plate, and the pitching was just as electric. It was a beautiful time. And the Marlins, well, from 2003 through 2006, for a few seasons, they had one of the most electric young pitchers in all of baseball, the D-Train. But unlike Kevin Brown, Dontrelle Willis' success was not as consistent, nor did it reach the same peak. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, Dontrelle Willis really only had one season where he was truly elite. But boy, was it a doozy. After taking the league by storm with D-Train Mania to open the 2003 season, did you know that he went 9-1 with an ERA just over 2 while striking out almost a batter an inning in the first half of the 2003 season? He'd actually make the All-Star team that year too as a rookie, as a replacement for Kevin Brown of the Dodgers. But 2003 isn't the season I want to focus on, even though he did help lead that Marlins team to a World Series title that year. Instead, I want to focus on his 2005 season, where he absolutely dominated. He went 22-10 with an ERA of 2.63, a FIP under 3, and a WHIP just over 1.1. He even led the entire league in complete games and home runs per 9. He didn't win the Cy Young, however. That would be Cardinals ace Chris Carpenter. Just like Kevin Brown, Willis was a victim of being on a mediocre team.
Mediocre?
While the eventual Cy Young winner would call a 100-win team their home, while sporting a lesser bWAR and ERA+. And Dontrelle could also hit. He put up a bWAR of 1 just with his bat that year, while hitting .261 with 1 home run and 11 runs batted in. But hitting aside, the Marlins maybe had the best pitcher in baseball in 2005. His 22 wins is still the most in Marlins team history. Unfortunately for them though, his success was short-lived. Despite a 4.1 bWAR season in 2006, the 2007 season was his last in Florida, and he would never find that same level of success again as a major leaguer. But for 1 year, the D-Train was one of the best pitchers in baseball. And little did Marlins fans know it at the time, but the best was yet to come. I couldn't talk about ace Marlins pitchers and not mention Josh Johnson. First off, hell of a name. Second, hell of a pitcher. Coming in at a towering 6 foot 7 inches and 250 pounds, Josh Johnson was a moose who threw heat. And just like Kevin Brown, was one of the best pitchers in baseball for the Marlins for 2 seasons. 2010 is the season that I want to focus on, but Johnson's excellence really began in 2009, when he went 15-5 with an ERA and FIP just over 3 and 8.2 Ks per 9, culminating in a bWAR of 6.7. From a bWAR perspective, he was fantastic, and he was an all-star that year, but he didn't receive a single Cy Young vote.
Sons of bitches.
2010 though, he'd finished 5th in Cy Young voting after another dominant season. He went 11-6 while leading the entire league in FIP and home runs per 9 and leading the National League in ERA and ERA+. His 7.0 bWAR ended up being a career high. He was an all-star that year and even pitched 2 perfect innings in the game, including strikeouts of future Hall of Famers Ichiro and Derek Jeter. He did only win 11 games though, and the Marlins, well, they were once again just mediocre. And bWAR, well, it really wasn't accepted yet. So all things considered, we should be thankful for his 5th place Cy Young finish that year. Unfortunately for Johnson though, 2010 was the last season that he would truly be elite. He pitched great to start the 2011 season and was on his way to another run at the Cy Young when his season was derailed by a shoulder injury. He wasn't the same afterwards in 2012 and was traded to the Blue Jays following that season. But just as in years past, as the Marlins lost one ace, they gained another. 2013 would mark the debut of maybe the nastiest pitcher in Marlins history, Jose Fernandez. We all know Jose Fernandez's incredible yet heartbreaking story. A young man finally makes it to the US as a 15-year-old from Cuba after 3 previous failed attempts to defect. He's then drafted in the first round of the 2011 MLB draft by the Marlins just 3 years later, ultimately making his debut in 2013. Jose was an instant success in Miami with his energy, carefree attitude towards life, but deeply competitive nature on the field. And it helped that he was absolutely nasty on the bump with a fastball that could touch 100 miles per hour, a nasty changeup, and 2 elite breaking pitches. He was electric, and as I mentioned, an instant success. His first season with the Marlins was actually his best season from a bWAR perspective. He went 12-6 with an insane 2.13 ERA, a 2.73 FIP, and 9.7 Ks per 9 in 28 starts in 2013. His 6.2 bWAR season earned him the 2013 Rookie of the Year award, an All-Star nod, and even a third-place finish in the Cy Young voting that year. Despite only winning 12 games and being on a Marlins team that lost 100 games that year. He even set the Marlins team record for hits per 9 and posted the second lowest whip by a Marlins pitcher ever that year. The only pitcher with a better whip in a single season in Marlins team history, Kevin Brown in 1996. And Fernandez did all of that as a 20-year-old. But what if I told you that his rookie year was not his best season?
How dare you?
Sorry, bWAR, but I think he was actually better in 2016. Or at least more dominant. He went 16-8 that year with a 2.86 ERA and a 2.30 FIP over 29 starts. He led the entire league in Ks per 9 with 12.5 while striking out a whopping 253 hitters that year. Both are team records. Following his last start of the 2016 season, a game where he pitched 8 innings of 3-hit ball with 12 strikeouts, he even told Martin Prado that it was the best game that he ever pitched. And then it was gone. Fernandez died following the 2016 season in a boating accident after a night of partying. R.I.P. Jose. But just as it always does, life moved on for the Marlins. And fortunately for their fans, the pitching gods have continued to bless them into the 2020s. I started this video talking about Max Meyer and his elite slider. He very well could be the next Marlins pitcher to post a 6+ bWAR season. But there is one member of that Marlins 2025 staff that may be struggling now, but is just a few seasons removed from a Cy Young trophy. Did you know that in Marlins history, there is no one who has posted a better pitching bWAR in a season than Sandy Alcantara? Yep. His 8.0 bWAR season in 2022 set the record for Marlins pitchers and did earn him the 2022 Cy Young Award. Seriously, this is the one time where I think bWAR actually won someone the award. He went just 14-9 that year on a bad Marlins team. His ERA and WHIP were fantastic at 2.28 and 980 respectively, and his FIP, well, it was under 3. He also led the entire league in innings pitched, complete games, shutouts, and batters faced that year. But other starters, well, they struck out more hitters, had better ERAs, better WHIPs, and allowed less home runs. Julio Urias even led the NL in ERA plus that year. But Sandy was worth a whopping 2 more wins than anyone else on that Cy Young ballot. He was a beast. But once again, unfortunately for Marlins fans, Sandy just hasn't been the same since 2022. He was still solid in 2023, but missed the entire 2024 season after elbow surgery, and I won't even show you his numbers to start the 2025 season. But for 1 year, Sandy was the best pitcher in baseball and had arguably the best pitch season in Marlins team history. And that's saying something. We didn't even mention those who didn't have 6+ bWAR seasons. What about Al Leiter? He was Kevin Brown's running mate in 1996 and has his name etched in several categories across the Marlins career leaderboards. Or how about Josh Beckett and Brad Penny? The Marlins don't win the 2003 World Series without them pitching alongside the D-Train. Heck, AJ Burnett might be one of my favorite Marlins ever. That knuckle curve of his after seeing the straight heat? Nasty. Or even more recently, with someone like Trevor Rogers. I still have his All-Star jersey in the closet after his solid 2021 season. They are all nasty, but none of them have posted a season with a bWAR higher than 6. The other 5 have. Is Max Meyer next? Only time will tell. That's gonna do it for today, baseball fans. Thanks so much for watching. Which Marlins pitcher is your favorite? Let me know down below, and please be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I do appreciate each and every one of you legends. But until next time, baseball fans, cheers!